Ryan Girdler, Ben Teo, Brent Reid and Tony Squires with you. Time for us to do a little bit of around the grounds, just a mix of topics that we'll throw the expertise at. Let's begin. I have a little bit of a question without notice because I hadn't really caught up with you since the decision handed down at the judiciary that Jack Wighton will in fact be suspended for 3 games. Those will be served in the red and green of South Sydney.
Maybe one All-Stars, Tone.
Ah, right, okay.
Yeah.
But he doesn't get any of the international beforehand because he'd retired from that kind of footy. Yeah. So three games was result from that biting charge. Are you happy with that, Ryan Girdler?
I thought it was a little bit over the top, Tony, to be honest. I remember, I used to have fights with my brother all the time, and if one of us got bitten, the old man would say, well, did you put it in his mouth? And if I said, yeah, he'd say, well, you deserve to get bitten. and Tyson put, his forearm across his mouth and then applied pressure. What else is Jack going to do? I would have bitten him as well.
He couldn't breathe.
Kids, don't bite. Don't bite. He couldn't
There's
breathe.
a difference between, I just think there's a difference, Tone, between going out and biting someone and having someone with their forearm wrapped around your mouth applying pressure.
So you're saying that, in fact, he could have just had his mouth open and the pressure from, the squeeze was where the marks
I'm just
came.
saying, if I'm tackling a guy and I got my forearm across his mouth and I feel it, I'm moving it. Because otherwise I'm thinking, well, I'm probably going to get bitten.
It's the Gordon Tallis theory. He was biting himself
Yes, I know.
religiously last week, and he showed us you can let bite marks.
I know. Suddenly, Gordon Tallis as a forensic scientist was fantastic. Dr. Tallis, what did you
Should
come
have
up with?
saved that for when we earlier.
It's kind of
when
the
we
same
did-
as a guy standing there with his fist in the air and someone running at it with his face.
Yeah.
It's like, well, don't run at the fist if you don't want to get punched in the face.
Oh, yeah. He ran onto my knife 6 times.
There you go.
Gert should have saved that for the advice thing earlier, fatherly advice.
Yes.
Yeah, that would have been perfect.
That's exactly right. So, Ben T, are you happy with the 3 weeks, though?
Yeah, I think so. Obviously, it's hard to say it was the applying pressure what left the bite marks, or did he have a little chomp? Yeah, it looks like a little bit of frustration from Wighton. He took a bite, but I think it's fair enough. 3 weeks, as you said, he's going to miss one rep game, so 2 for South he's going to miss.
Well, he's going to miss Las Vegas, so it's really like 1,000 weeks. It's very
I'm sure he'll find
that's
his way over there.
You think he might find his way over there. Yeah. All right, the West Tigers, their external review, the governance of the club. It seemed from fans' point of view this has been a long time coming.
Yeah, and this was instigated by the fans. They started to what do you call it?
Petition.
Petition, yeah. Sorry, I had a brain slip. And they got over 2,000 signatures. That went to the board.
It's just a rim, mate. It's just a rim.
He's still concerned about that car, guys. I can see it. I can feel it
It's just a
radiating
rim,
off
brother.
him.
That went to the organisation that runs the West Tigers, and they're going to conduct an independent external review. So Tony Crawford, who used to be at the NRL, he was the CFO at the NRL. He's now a consultant. He's going to be one of the blokes involved in that review, and they're just going to look at the way the club's run, basically.
From the very top down.
Very top down.
Hope it's a forensic.
Yeah. Well, it's a great thing, isn't it? Because, I mean, the amount of internal reviews we've heard about the West Tigers for the last 15 years, nothing's happening. But the same thing, too. You can do a review here, but if you don't make any changes...
Well, they're trying to, Benny, and
year.
this is the issue, right? They're trying to get ahead of football at the moment. And I know they've gone after some really prominent guys and they've offered them big money. They don't want to go there. They've said no. So, they are, to Benji's credit, Benji's made some coaching changes. They were pretty well documented. Dave Ferner went this week. They're making changes and they want to make more change to the footy department to strengthen it, to give Benji more support. But the problem is the joint stinks so much that, even like the criticism is they always overpay players. Now they're having to overpay staff and they can't get them anyway. That's how bad they're going.
All right. So we don't see major anything coming out of this other than
there could be that this review finds they've got serious issues with the way the club's run, and maybe it leads to some.
I don't
pretty
think they need a review for that.
But maybe some high-profile figures are under the gun out of this.
Hopefully they can. Sorry.
Now go.
Hopefully, Tone, they can come back with just maybe explaining to us like who's accountable for some of these decisions at what level, because that's the confusing thing when you hear things coming out of the Tigers. if it's the CEO, they always say, oh, but the CEO is looking after the commercial projects, and apparently that's going well. And even though they've got 2 wooden spoons, if it's commercially going well, you only have to think, how would it go if they were actually winning some footy games?
Yeah.
But no one seems to be accountable for, the removal of coaches, and, now they've got someone there for recruitment. But it just seems to be a piece to the puzzle missing, where there should be some accountability laid for, a combination of like results and decisions around coaching, and probably potentially like some infrastructure around pathways and just those things that like a good footy, a general manager of football does.
Yeah.
Is there no one in that role there, Reedy, that can take any accountability for how that club is at the moment?
Well, Tim was meant to be that person, but when they decided to take the coaching job off him a year ahead of schedule, he was going to drop back into that at the end of 2 years. Well, when they took the job off him early, he said, well, okay, let's go. Let's end it.
Well, it's one thing creating the position, but then, as Reedy said, trying to find a good person, and the good people don't want to come there. So you might have to take a few steps down and find someone who's up and coming, someone who's young and keen, who can stay in the job and develop. But there's not many just Frank Panisis just flying around the place.
Yeah. Adam O'Brien, well, early in the season, it was all over really, wasn't it? He was gone. Now he sits coaching a team in a semi-final this afternoon on the back of 11 consecutive wins, and it's seen a new contract for him.
Yeah, it looks like he had a 2-year extension in the off-season, Tony. He's got 1 year to go on that deal, so he'll be there for 3 more years. And, it's pretty remarkable when you consider where he was only 3 months ago. I mean, they were talking to other people about the coaching job, and now he's about to get an extension. He deserves it. He's done a great job. He stayed the course, and the corner's turned for him. So I'm really happy for him. He's a good fella, Adam.
Indeed. I mean, early on, when you heard him talk, it kind of sounded tired and emotional a lot.
Well, he was going through a lot, Adam, this year with his mum.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that's all changed, and the players are clearly doing it for him at the moment. What about Ben? Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
I think it's fair to say too, Benny, that they've overachieved. Like when you look at that roster against a lot of the other rosters, especially in some of those key positions, you would have to say this year they've overachieved, right? They're playing to the Warriors today to get into a prelim final, or do you think that roster warrants that sort of performance?
I thought that roster was probably underachieving for a long time. Guys like Tyson Frizzell, when they went there, like they were the top of their game, but he sort of hasn't hit his straps till I think this year. And then when you think about that, you think that Adam O'Brien was so under the pump. There was talk he was going to be sacked if he didn't win the next week, and sort of Kaelin's hit form, and it's kind of propelled the whole club forward. And all of a sudden you're signing another 2-year extension, so you got 3 more years. Like, has he just become that much a better coach in that time to be rewarded with that deal? Or it's just, it all comes back to players and recruitment and them being informed. I mean, like Wayne always says, like those players can make a coach. And that's what you got to make sure
you get. But it also, for me, like it's about, getting the best out of the individual. And when you just spoke about Tyson, but when you go through, some of these players, they're in the form of their career at the back end of the year, right? So, I mean, systems and pathways, and that's all really important. But I guess if you're a coach that's getting the absolute best out of the individual, it's got to count for something.
I was going to say, it's interesting you mentioned Kaelin there as well in this, Benny, because I spoke to Kaelin's dad this week, Andre, and one of the things he said was Kaelin is at a point in his career where he doesn't want to start again with a new coach. Yeah. And he's got an amazing relationship with Adam O'Brien. And the club, by doing this, you've got to keep your biggest player happy, I think. Mm-hmm. When you have an unhappy bloke who's your biggest star, your biggest name, it doesn't work. And by doing this, they're also going to keep Kalen Ponga really happy because he loves Adam O'Brien.
Yeah, but the same would be said then for Jason Demetrio. Yeah, he's down at South Sydney trying to keep his best players happy, and if all of a sudden they were still in the finals and Latrell starts lighting up, we'd be talking about, oh, what a great coach, he's getting the best out of Latrell.
Well, we said that in the first part of the year when they were leading the premiership.
Yeah, so I just think, there's so many variables in the coaching department, isn't there? And I think he's struck gold and he gets 2 more years.
But it's probably a hard thing to do to re-sign a coach when they're not performing, so you get them on a good deal.
Yeah.
Then everyone wants your head, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Believe it or not.
This first one. This is just basically poking the 2 Queenslanders we have to deal with up there, Ben Teo, Ryan Girdler. Believe it or not, Queensland is an AFL state.
You coming to me?
No, I'm not coming to you. I'm just, getting some support in the way I said that. I thought I
like
really
the way you said that,
yeah, thank you. Believe it or not, Ryan Girdler, Queensland is an AFL state.
How many AFL sides they got up here?
One.
I'd say
there's a Gold Coast.
There's the Gold Coast as well.
Yeah.
No one knows about them. No, you're right.
No one knows.
Easy
about
to forget.
It's the Bermuda Triangle of football teams there.
I think the Queensland mentality, Tony, is a little bit, they jump on whoever's going better. That's the feeling I get after spending some time up here. So it's like,
wow.
If the Lions are going good, they're on the Lions. If the Broncos are going good, they're on the Broncos. Fortunately for the Queenslanders, they're both going well this year. So they're finding it hard to split. So I would say... it depends.
You're saying Queensland is a bandwagon state?
Pretty much.
Yeah, okay. Benny Teo?
No, it's all about rugby league up here.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll never be an AFL state. Look, the Lions are going great, and it's pumping around the city at the moment, as you said, both teams. But Queensland, State of Origin side, the Broncos, the Dolphins, the Titans, the Cowboys. That's what everyone's about here.
Love it. It will be big next Saturday, isn't it? When they're both the Broncos and the Lions are playing back to back. Different venues, obviously, but both in Brisbane. What do you believe it or
I
not?
think it's laughable, Tone. The AFL can fudge all the stats they want, and they do fudge them to make themselves feel more self-important. But rugby league's Queensland's clearly a rugby league state.
I forgot you're a Queenslander as well.
Oh,
that's who I thought you were talking about, Tony.
Yeah, no, I was just throwing you in the mix there. Because you kind of Johnny come lately.
You look at the television ratings up there; it's a smash up every week.
Yeah. Okay. Believe it or not, and this comes via Willie Mason. Believe it or not, the Knights have, quote, the worst spine in the league. The worst spine in the league, Brent Reid.
No, that's just guff. I mean, they got Kalen Ponga. He's just about the best player in the game. So
that's only one member of the spine.
Well, he's a pretty
Who's
good
got
member.
the worst spine then, Reedy?
Oh, Tigers to give it a shake. Canterbury, maybe. Yeah. Canterbury are pretty bad.
Okay.
Maybe.
So all right, so you've got them long way from the worst spine.
That's a bit harsh on Canterbury.
So every time you say it, it is harsh. It is harsh. Can
I say what about the Dragons? Actually, I think the Dragons are up there.
I think that was harsh. Probably maybe more agree that, in the last, the top 6 teams is probably the worst spine, but they're doing well. I just think if you look at them, there's a lot of guys playing above what they usually have in their career. Guys like Tyson Gamble, right, who spent a lot of time in reserve grade, struggled to hold down a spot, and then he's on fire at the moment. So, but me and Gers, we've had this chat before, haven't we? That if the Knights were to go through and win the comp, then maybe that could be the worst one to ever win a comp.
I'm not sure we had that conversation. Wow. That's a good quote, though, from you. Look,
I'm going to ask Tyson Gamble about that quote next week.
Tyson Gamble, and we know that he's not playing today, but obviously Jackson Hastings, they got guys that are nomadic, right? By nature, they move around to different clubs looking for a hole, and, they've found that spot. But, if you compare them to some of the other spines that they'll come up against if they win today, especially the Brisbane Broncos or the Penrith Panthers may be a grand final, you would have to say they fall behind in those areas. And I spoke about it before when we were talking about Adam O'Brien, what a job he's done. These guys are playing out of their skin. You look at these guys, you take it going into a major semi-final. Dylan Lucas, Leo Thompson, Crossland at dummy half, Clune, Gamble. There's guys there that are just finding their way in the league well away from being sort of established stars of the NRL, and they are mixing it with the best. So he's done a wonderful job.
May have been an off-the-record conversation those two were having earlier before. Okay, the final one. Maybe. Look, this is a little bit antsy, but, who cares at this stage of the day? Believe it or not, the NRL got the pre-game grand final entertainment wrong. We're talking about the Tina Turner show tribute. They got it wrong.
No, I think it's good. I think it's a good idea. Yeah, Tina Turner, she's an icon. Rugby league icon.
Yeah, but it's not Tina performing.
Well, that's all right. It's her songs, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I guess they'll have to do the two,
someone
the
with
anthems.
her voice and her...
Well, from the show, from the Tina Turner show.
Yeah, so, I don't mind it.
Bit of Nutbush City Limits, you'll be up and dancing.
They won't sing that, will they?
Oh, I don't know. They'll have to do what you...
Simply the best.
What you get is what you see.
What you see.
Yeah.
The great, iconic rugby league anthems.
Okay.
I don't mind it.
You're on board. Okay, Ryan Girdler?
I have not thought about it, to be honest, but I'm going to say
That's why we give you a rundown.
It's appalling. It's just appalling. I mean, it's appalling. Just get some original artists in there to get on and do their thing. What are you doing getting a show? Like, what is it, some sort of musical theatre?
Hey,
We need
there's nothing wrong-
we need a vibe
There's
before the
nothing wrong
grand
with
final
musical.
kicks off, Tone.
There's nothing wrong with musical theatre.
Yeah, there is at a grand final. The bloke's about to go into battle, and you're going to come out and,
What you say?
dance around singing
Tina Turner. This is the anthem for rugby league.
cover,
Has been for
cover
years.
songs.
Yeah,
You can't sing cover songs at grand finals. You need to be singing the, original.
But Tina Turner passed away this year. This is a tribute to Tina
Yeah, well,
Turner.
unless you're bringing Tina back, we need to let it go.
Wow.
That is harsh.
What about his?
You've really
Girds'
changed since you went to
Girds'
Queensland.
standards? You can't sing covers. It's got to be originals.
It's a grand final, Rudy. It's a grand final, brother.
Yeah. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, you can do the covers at the New South
I
Wales
heard
Cup
the other-
grand final.
I heard that Kiss are playing at the
Me, the
AFL
AFL.
grand
Yeah.
final.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well-
they're not a cover band, are they?
Well, how do we know? They've got makeup. Could be just any four blokes they drag out of thing and shove that makeup on. Ben Teo, what do you think?
Oh, well, I was with Reedy. I was actually
Yeah.
quite fine with the 10 until this passionate statement from Girds, and I'm with him. It's just appalling.
Wow.
It's,
He threw you on
Yeah.
the
no,
bus
I agree.
before.
You got to do better than
You've
that.
got to do better than that.
You got to do better than
You've got
that.
a year to put that
you,
together.
You look over the fence at what the AFL are doing. They're always pushing and trying to make that grand final experience something memorable. And
Hey,
just get the place rocking. And
Kiss isn't pushing. Kiss has
Tony,
got
if
a
I
whiff
want to
of
watch
meatloaf.
the Tina Turner show, I go to Brisbane Entertainment Centre.
of course.
Like people are paying huge amounts of money to go there and sit there to watch this grand final. We need to light it up.
They had Robbie Williams last year, but you could have seen him at that, at a theatre as well. Just because they perform in a theatre doesn't mean they can't perform in an arena.
Who do you want, Girds? Who do you want to? Who do you want?
Oh, don't put that on me, Reedy. I just want an original
is
artist
it a
out
grand
there.
final or is it Broadway?
Bringing the
Honestly,
vibe, brother.
guys.
Bringing the vibe. Not coming all the way down there to watch the Tina Turner show.
Okay, time's running out, but thank you very much for that thought. That's my favourite,
Thank you.
believe it or not, ever to Saturday Scrum.